Hello, everyone. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios, premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. We are also a operational family office, a single family office of my family's. But we believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread, but opportunities are not. Today, I'd like to welcome everyone to GSD Presents Top Global Startups, where we explore the founders and technologies quietly redesigning how humans live, work, and feel. Today's conversation sits at the intersection of human emotion, ambient computing, and the future of well being. As our environments become smarter, lights that adapt, sounds that respond, temperatures that learn, one of our most important and powerful senses has been left behind: scent. And yet, smell is the fastest pathway to memory, emotion, focus, and calm. So, my guest today is Adam Good, founder and CEO of Auric Essentials, a company creating an entirely new category they call mood as a service. Adam brings a rare combination of deep human insight and serious scale. Before Auric, he spent over 30 years leading global digital transformation as a chief digital officer, owning P&Ls approaching $1 billion, blending creativity, data, and technology at the highest scale. He is born from a simple but powerful realization. While our digital lives evolved, our emotional environments didn't. ARC is changing that by making scent programmable, intelligent, and responsive, delivered through connected hardware, software, and a reoccurring engagement, making our lives more real and our interactions more real. Today, we're going to explore what it means to design mood, how ambient computing is becoming emotional computing, and what happens when calm, clarity, and performance are no longer accidental, but engineered. So I'd like to bring Adam to the show. Hi, Adam.
How are you, Gary? Nice to be
Um,
here.
Fantastic, actually. I'm down at my house at Palm Beach, actually. I'm on the other coast right now at the beach, so it's not too bad. It's about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Not bad.
Oh,
Anyhow,
nice.
what problem did you see? You worked at a massive scale in digital transformation. What problem did you see in human well being that spreadsheets, dashboards, and apps simply aren't solving?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, as you said in the introduction, I mean, a chief digital officer for quite a number of years and been through those revolutions of 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0. But I really just felt that spaces were not particularly smart, just ultimately a bit dumb. And um, as I was coming towards ending an executive role there at WPP as the chief digital officer, I really wanted to tackle something that I thought wasn't digitized, and that was scent. I just felt that smart homes and smart workplaces were getting um, were evolving. We could control our lights, we could control our thermostats and music, but we couldn't really control scent, and that sort of concerned me because that was just um, a sense that really profoundly impacted me. I'm actually here at 5 a.m. in Bali, and you can just sort of smell the Indonesia just rising here. And, I just felt that those sorts of things just needed to be, how could we just sort of turn that on, a little bit more controlled? And obviously scent changes when you need scent to upregulate and downregulate. So that just really became a bit of a mission. What I would certainly have learned in the Auric journey is it's very difficult to do this, but I think with the power of AI and especially since COVID, we've learned the power of scent, and especially when we lose the sense of smell, how profound that can be on our well-being. That we've assembled a pretty interesting global team, and we're tackling how we can digitize scent and use biometric insights as well as wearables to trigger scent when you kind of need it most. And yeah, that's just been a real passion point of mine. And we're getting somewhere now with the launch of the Auric Aromasphere and getting it out in homes, bedrooms, work and offices, living rooms, and now more and more into some commercial spaces as well.
The smell's often been described as our most emotional sense.
Mm.
Why scent been so underutilized in technology compared to sight and sound?
Yeah, I think as I said, it's quite difficult. We've there's certainly organisations doing synthetic scent, and we follow them quite closely. But we're using 100% botanicals. We're using essential oils and taking um, uh, the delivery mechanism of more the ancient scents that humans have been using. So that your lavenders, your ylang-ylangs, and bergamots, and mixing and finding the right upregulation and downregulated mixes in the chamber of the auric aromosphere. And we also think that's a worthy cause because a lot of scent and fragrance do have solvents and carcinogenics in them. So we're trialing that. We're doing that with 100% botanicals. We're an Australian-based company, and so we've spent the time getting what TGA approval, so the equivalent of an organisation like an FDA in the US to look at therapeutic grade essential oils and how that can impact your mood states. And we're always investigating new research in scent therapy and sort of combining those things in a continuous loop, I suppose, which you said in the beginning, called mood as a service. So looking at how you can find the right time to shift a mood for somebody to help them maybe move from being anxious into a more of a focused state, or whether they've been doing a lot of focused state and they might need to move to more of a calming state and rewarding them. So that's where we've come up with how we use scent to be a programmable, data-driven system that helps people regulate their stress and using really nice smells to do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember a few years ago, before I was married, I remember finding this beautiful scent down in Bermuda, Frangipani, and I brought some of that perfume home. Man, oh man, scents can
Mm.
drive all kinds of different kinds of behavior, right? Good and bad.
Yeah, it's certainly memorable. That's certainly the olfactory system is one of the first senses. Well, it is the first sense that's actually formed in the womb. So they're still investigating how the olfactory system works because it's still lots to be found out about that. But certainly scent really drives memory, and that's where focus can come into that. We always have those stories of something that's been baked, or a perfume from an old girlfriend that might trigger up a bunch
Or
of
maybe
memories.
both of them together and you hit the jackpot.
That's right. And then you've also got those senses that sort of disturb you a little bit. You might go into a hospital and suddenly feel a little bit more anxious to some of those smells that are running around in healthcare platforms as well, that make people a little bit nervous. So yeah, it's an evolving science.
Do you think we're moving from ambient computing to emotional computing, where environments respond to how we feel, not just what we do?
Yeah, I do. I think most spaces are generally designed to be visually appealing and operationally working, but certainly not emotionally designed. And I think designing human mood means that sort of intention to shape environment so you can support calm, support focus, support energy, support recovery, and rather than making that work against people. No doubt our product was certainly developed more for the home, but we're seeing organizations really wanting to create, because they've got more spaces, certainly in corporate environments now, because people are only coming into to work maybe in the corporate environment 2 or 3 days a week. But it has been proven that it's better to get people back. So if you can maybe make one of the rooms a little bit more about a brainstorming focus room, or a recovery room, or even a restful room, and use scent to be that sort of program layer, I do believe that is going to happen. We're seeing, there's over 1 billion wearable users now that look at their data religiously, and a lot of it is just a lot of graphs tell them their sleep patterns and their heart variability. What if instead of those graphs can actually make you move towards something that you just sort of see in that sort of or feel in that room, and that means you're slightly shifting, or you want to be programmed to be shifted your mood from more upregulated or a downregulated state.
ARC isn't just a product, Adam. It's hardware, software, and recurring engagement. How do you think about building a platform instead of a gadget? Because really, this is a platform. Actually, it becomes platform of a connected network, right? There's all kinds of things. So once you go down through and understand the smell, somebody happens to be stressed, you can reduce the stress, and then they can have a better opportunity to work longer and more interestingly work. So what do you think about, is it, are you looking at this as a platform? Is it a gadget, just something nice to have?
Yeah, we're seeing it as infrastructure, as an infrastructure play. There's no doubt. My background, I spent a bit of time in the early video streaming platforms when I was at Telstra, Australia's largest telecommunications company, and we were building the early streaming products, which we learned a lot. That was a whole new category, understanding that television could be sort of on demand. Plug a HDMI cable in the back of the TV. That it took a while for people to understand that. So I understood that hardware firmware space. But then the reoccurring component to that, download a movie or streaming side of it, that's where a business model can be really lucrative. So when it came to looking at Scent as a problem, I also started to look at the business side of things. That sort of, if you could make some hardware and some infrastructure that had the reoccurring revenue stream, and in our case, it's the reoccurring essential oils that are delivered to the home.
Mm-hmm.
When you need them, to the aromas that are working for you, and the scent and smells that are not so, you don't want those ones anymore. You're getting other ones. So we've found the reoccurring revenue stream has some good margin in that, especially when you get the attachment rates right. But back to is it a gadget? Yeah, the Auric Aromasphere is a beautifully designed diffuser. It's on the high end of diffusers. We call it the elegance of ESO, the functionality of Sonos, the simplicity of Nespresso. But underneath, outside that, it's starting to rain here in Bali, so hopefully you can hear me okay. It's the infrastructure is really quite interesting. RFID smart capsules that go into the device. We track the oil usage, we track preferences. It goes into a closed loop system to understand personalization. Your biometric insights deliver some more insights about your sleep patterns and your exercise patterns. So the infrastructure layer is quite deep and comprehensive, and now that we're moving into some more corporate spaces, we can tie that infrastructure into their intranets and into retail to see whether there's preferences to customers being happier in that space because it's delivering experience, or it's delivering transaction counts. So yeah, definitely infrastructure is how we pitch it.
So how do you balance hyper personalization with scale without crossing the line into creepy tech?
Yeah, that's. I still think we've got a way to go there. We don't want to be a creepy device that's giving you lots of alerts on your phone. So when somebody gets the Auric Aromasphere, we send out some videos early on to not teach them, but to give them an idea of what we're trying to create with a mood as a service. We're trying to give them the ability to give intention. So what's your intention that you want to start your day tomorrow? Is it more that you want to get out and do some exercise, or you've got to do some deep work? So we ask a fair amount of questions, or what is your intention? What are your moods that you really want to try to improve on? And then after that, we try to get back in the background to just move the scents and the blend to different parts of the day. So is that rain very loud for you, or is that not too bad?
I hear it more. It's but that's okay. We got about 13 minutes left, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's really teeming down. That's what happens in Bali. Is 1 minute there's no rain, and next minute it feels like it's a torrential storm disappearing.
So looking back, what lessons about scaling systems helped you design something as human and subjective as emotion?
So yeah, I mean, maybe repeat that question because I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, so look back in time. You've been building companies for a while. what lessons that you've learned about scaling systems help you design in the past, help you design something that's focused on really a human-like experience, right? Motion.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think, said is very subjective. You have to realize that right up front when you're building something like this, and mood is very subjective. It's but maybe behavior isn't. So we try to we're trying not to read minds there. So how people actually interact with their environment over time, and um, that has been a really big learning. I mean, Auric is fundamentally a system with a closed loop. So we're constantly taking learning and iterating that way. In regards to building the team structure, I think my background as a chief digital officer has obviously really helped. I have been lucky enough to work in lots of different markets. I've worked in the US, in China, worked for Dentsu, a Japanese-based company. So different ways of working has been really programmed into Auric. We've really embraced the fractional work environment. We've gone out to find the best people that really are passionate about well-being, passionate about trying to create something off the screen. So the team that's come together over the last 3 years is what we sort of believe is the best of the best in therapeutic grade essential oils, hardware, industrial design, manufacturing, being able to do repeat purchase and understand preferences to drive attachment rates. So really, Auric is really a very small full-time team, but quite a large fractional team that people come into the project at various different times. And I really think that's the future. You sprinkle that with agent development to basically try to build things that you don't have to do too many manual times, and let the agents take the heavy lifting. It's definitely my life's work here.
So, what do you think? At some point in time, you're going to have to put up guardrails. What guardrails do you think are essential as mood design becomes mainstream?
Yeah, the guardrails. That's a really good question.
You got to be careful because with mood, people might not know that you're doing it unconsciously. But what could happen is you could guide them in certain types of behavior, and they would never know it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think we haven't found our guardrails yet because we're building this as a new category. I still think when you fundamentally think that space is still pretty dumb, you've got a long way to go to sort of feel that you can walk into a room and it'll adjust accordingly. But I think I think probably the guardrails that we're challenged with at the moment is when the aromasphere has more than one person, that wants that room to be, a different environment. As we said before, the elegance of a product that we model off being the elegance of ESO for the functionality of Sonos. That's a really good example. If you've got Sonos speakers all through your house, but there's 4 members of the house and somebody wants Metallica and the next person choosing Lady Gaga, the space will change quite quickly. So those sort of areas of the guardrails of saying, who is the sort of the main owner of this space, and does their preference lead others? That then starts to go in. Is there a brand direction of this space that you actually do want to sort of set your guardrail to? So that's probably an area that we've hit at the moment to understand individual preference over group.
So do you believe that these future high performance environment like office, schools, or even cities will be judged not by productivity, but how well they regulate human stress and focus?
I think organizations are on that journey right now. A lot of our lead target audience is HR and wellbeing officers. They're really leaning in. They've done various forms of mental health programs, and we always think Scent can kind of partner with anybody in that area. So you might want a room that adjusts the light. You might want Headspace or a Calm app playing, and then you add the aromas to it. So we definitely see companies that have a very strong preference in wellbeing and mental health. Productivity is obviously a big theme that's running at the moment. We like to lean into how Scent can improve productivity or get people back into the office because they really like it. We've just done a really interesting trial with a school teacher that has teenagers coming in, and they're always on their phones and being distracted, and she's getting them to hand in their phone, but the reward is to make the work with the class to create a really nice Scent environment so they can do their study. And you see this perpetual behavior. The kids are coming back, and then they're realizing, I'm very comfortable to give my phone because I'm now walking into a completely different experience, and the Scent is there, and I'll start doing some study. So that's when we really start to think we're designing human mood, and we're learning about that because we're seeing those preferences. You sort of know it yourself, and you probably know this yourself, Gary. You walk into certain people's homes, and they've just really spent that time on their Scent. We love candles, but at the same time, we are competing with those scented candles, and we love to find those people that have candles and say, how about you use the aromasphere for a period of time and program the Scent that you want in different times of the day. And then you don't want Scent on all the time. I think that's a really important thing that we do as a mood as a service. We don't believe that Scent should be just that one Scent playing all day. It's just like having loud music playing all day. You just you want the regulation to happen.
So, going down through it, how do you think future generations will grow up expecting their environments to self-regulate their emotions the way thermostats regulate temperature today?
Yeah, I do. I think that will be. I think that's a new programmable space that we believe that people will want. Hotel chains have obviously been using Scent for a period of time, and we have our preferences, but we've been working with boutique hotels that want to have a different Scent for a different room, or sometimes it's just a real restful. They just want to immediately go to the room and have a restful room. Other people want a room that's have a little bit more energy to it, I suppose, and have a different mood state that they want to create rather than just one Scent. So I think that sort of programmable space will start to come in. Our challenge at the moment is not to be too, we are playing in the B2B and the B2C space at the moment, both places, and because we're building infrastructure. But we'll probably find the sweet spot eventually that we're one or the other, maybe, or there'll be different Auric products on the infrastructure in different spaces. So yeah, it's still pretty early in that.
So do you think, Adam, mood's something we should be optimizing or something we should be listening to?
Ooh, listening to mood.
But the problem is we may not know that consciously we're making that kind of decision to do something because we're being less like having a mentalist there that understands how to manipulate you, right? Because that's the other thing, as a shrink, I know a little bit about it, and you can control a lot of different behaviors with a smell. So in your instance, when you talked about the mobile phones, the first thing I thought of is, what if I had a scent on my phone that smelled like a battery burning? They would probably not want to touch it, right? So there's two ways to get out through and get that done, and that's another thing to think about. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, I think mood is something that we do have to listen to, and obviously we're using Scent to help trigger that. But we see people that just don't reward themselves to give themselves a little bit of calming space. we like people that have an auric calm ritual late, in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, between, say it's a 4:10 to 4:30, 20 minutes. Just reward yourself. Like the aroma goes off, make yourself a cup of tea, just sit down, get off the screens. You've been working really hard. You've been to the gym. You've hosted 10 podcasts. You should just chill, just relax for a moment, just smell the roses, so to speak. So
And do you actually have roses there for them to smell?
yeah. But rose essential oils is one of the more expensive essential oils to have in the product range. But yeah, look, I think mood is really important. We have to. We talk a lot about calm, focus, energy, and sleep. All those four things are really, really important, and you need as much of it as possible, and not be moving into other mood states like I feel very anxious, or I feel very unproductive, or I feel like I don't know what I need to do. As a wellness, like I'm here in Bali. I didn't quite get up early enough to do my 20-minute meditation because I sort of got up and I'm now in this podcast. It's kind of a little bit rare for me. I prefer to sort of I use Auric to sort of have that smell play. That's my little moment that I'll just sit peacefully for 10 minutes and do a little bit of meditation. But even if you don't like meditation, just to sit still while a mood place goes, and then Auric might move to an energy scent, which I kind of know, it's probably a bit of time to go for a run or head to the gym or do something like that. So I obviously use my product to move me through those mood states. Sure, I might get a little, because it's got a wearable connection, there's a little bit of alert on my phone that sort of prompts me as well, this is focus. But it's the scent that's triggering me. So I'm using scent to be like, yep, that smell means that I should be sort of moving towards this next mood rather than something else. Or my family's heading home soon, so I should be a little bit more attentive to them than just being attentive to the work stream. So yeah, we think well-being is a really good place, and scent is just that sort of 10-minute ab roller to help you to move to those states.
Adam, neuroscience tells us that the smell bypasses rational thought. Does that make sense? The most and potentially dangerous interface we've ever designed.
Well, I don't think it's dangerous. I think that's just, again, very, very human. We've looked at studies where if you could get your olfactory and your scent system working, you don't need as much food. That's, I think, humans, and we're talking thousands of years ago when there was a lot more threats in our human life. But humans would be in the caves. They would creep out. They would sort of smell the botanics. They'd sort of understand the various different seasons. Our noses were a little bit bigger. Mine's maybe still very big. But those botanics went through the body and nourished the system. And also threatening smells were also helping humans as well, understanding the threatening smells to be on alert. So what's actually happened with the Industrial Revolution is we've had too many pollutants go into the air, and we've actually receded a little bit as our sense. We know when you say to humans, if you had to lose one of your senses, people would say, "Oh, I just lose my smell." I mean, that's not as important as hearing and seeing and so forth. But I don't think that would have happened thousands of years ago. They would have said, "No, that's just too important to my regulation." And we know that if you lose your sense of smell, and we found that through COVID, that was the first thing that kind of went. And some people, unfortunately, have really not ever really got that back as well as they can. And so we're putting the aromasphere with people that don't have the best smell, and sort of saying, like really kind of deep, use your muscle strength to try to get those smells coming. And then they find that, in a few days later, they go, I can smell that ylang-ylang and that bergamot. I can actually get that smell back. And I'm really positive that now with the breakthroughs with AI AI therapy, so AI research around scent is going to have some huge breakthroughs of its importance over the next couple of years.
So what's harder, building the tech, as I said, or teaching the market as a mental mode? But here's the thing: do customers initially buy Auric for the performance, for the sleep, for the stress, or just because they're just curious? This is a new toy, and I've seen a lot of those. I have geeky friends. No matter what it is, they got like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Look.
Getting
There's definitely that. I mean, we're on a television show in Australia called The Block. It's one of Australia's largest television shows, home renovation show, and we got one of the contestants that liked the aromasphere, and they put it in their bedroom reveal. And of course, we end up with this 3-minute advertorial of the judges just saying, "Oh, the room smells great," and they're using it to create the ambience in the room. It couldn't have been a better television commercial for 90 seconds. And we were just inundated with sales to the point where we sold out very, very, very quickly. And my co-founder and I would sit back and go, "That's really interesting, isn't it? There's the visual medium selling our product, and they still haven't even smelt it. I mean, we've done a whole podcast here for 31 minutes, and you haven't really smelt anything to do with it." So there's the curiosity. Yeah, there's no doubt we're getting sales with curiosity. Health conscious people that use biometrics really like it, or the purist aromatherapists are really interested to see how we've made our blends, all that friction free. You don't have to add water and mix your oils. So there's definitely curiosity side of that. My US investor calls us weird but working kind of model, where we are a little bit different to the AI wrappers that are out there at the moment. We're building an AI hardware piece and ambient computing, a new category. We're not for everybody, but we're certainly going to send you an aromasphere, Gary, so you can tell me if you like it.
No, it sounds great. Well, that's a point. What happens when 2 people in the same space need different emotional states?
Yeah, that's probably those guardrails that we're hitting. It's like lighting and like sound when it comes to those sorts of things. Yeah, we're definitely seeing people hitting a little bit of a wall there. Probably a good thing for the business model. We end up selling 2 because
you're depending on the distance you are, you may have one person reacts this way, another one's totally negative about it. Just like perfume, cologne. Some people like it, some people hate it. And I mean, the people that hate it bad, right? So how do you do that without creating friction?
No, I think we have. I think that's probably a challenge that we've got. So how it works is just like a speaker. So if the first preference aroma starts playing, and then if somebody's scheduled ritual is going to play, 2 minutes after that, it will replace that last person's preference point. So exactly the same as how lighting and music works. It just switches out. So then those 2 people in the room are saying, "Hang on a minute, I wanted that and I wanted this." And that's been an area that we've been looking at. How it's been resolved inside that family is a negotiation on a decision of what one they want at that particular time. So yeah, we're not able to get through that where no one's really walking around with any headsets at the moment with scent. So I think all sense-based experiences are finding the same thing. We haven't solved that problem, but we haven't seen any marriages break up yet. So far so good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the smell of evergreen trees, right? Like at Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
My wife likes the smell of the beach. So in my car, I have the Yankee Candle, these little things that go on the car vent, and I happen to like it. And I bought like 12 of these sticks. She hates it. She likes the smell of the beach. So we have totally different. And it's tough when you're in the car because she doesn't want to smell it. She says, it's too strong for me. I love it. I feel like I'm at Christmas time all the time. I'm feeling really calm and good. So I get you. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the show. If you want to stay on for a few minutes afterwards, we can talk. But closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, Yep, you can order your Auric Aromasphere. So anybody who wants one now, just head to auricnow.com or search for Auric Aromasphere and on any major search engine, you'll find us. And yeah, we're open to collaborations. We're looking for people that want to do some trials with Auric spaces to do a 21-day trial to see whether we can create the spaces that they're looking for in corporate environments and retail environments, well-being, so those side of things. Strategic partners we're open to, very much so. Everything from virtual reality to well-being partnerships. We think that everything is better with scent. So if anybody wants to reach out and have a conversation about that, that'd be great. Join our mailing list. We have some pretty interesting videos and examples that come out regularly. And predominantly we're in Australia at the moment, but we spent 4 months in the US last year, and we will be rolling out into the US later this year. So throughout the world in time. So you can order the Aromasphere, and oils can be delivered in most markets. So, but anyone who's got any questions or just want to book a meeting with me to find out more, that I'm always open for that.
Sounds great. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today, Adam. And thanks to all of you. We're closing in on 1,600 podcasts and millions of views, and it's all because of you. You can check us out. We're on Google, we're on Amazon, we're on Apple, and we're out there to be able to bring incredible companies and people just like Adam here so that you can hear their stories and some of the ways that the world's going to change. So thank you, Adam. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And I will be back to you again soon with another exciting edition of GSD Presents Top Global Startups. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm your host. Thank you.